Alright mates, how's it going? In today's video, Chapter 2 of Rise of the Horde by Christy Golden. There's a lot of running in this chapter. Running towards a thing, running away from a thing, and then running towards a thing. Let's go! A few months later, Durotan was running as fast as his legs could carry him. He was exhausted, out of breath and sweating his balls off. But he had to keep going. He was a frost wolf, the heir to clan chieftaincy, and no Blackrock orc was gonna... There's little effort to beat you, Durotan. You've so much muscle your brain is starved. Skill is as important as power, but the Blackrock clan wouldn't know about such things. There wasn't any malice in their words. It was just a bit of friendly bants. Their clans had been troubled at first by the friendship between the two youths, but Durotan's argument, that just because something had not been done before did not mean it could never be done, amused and impressed the leaders of both clans. Plus it helped that both the Frostwolves and Blackrocks were traditionally even-tempered. If Durotan had suggested a friendship with a war song or a bone chewer, however, they probably would have nipped that in the bud pretty quick. Suddenly, the earth shuddered beneath their feet. Whilst Durotan automatically unsheathed his spiked club, Orgrim readied his hammer. 'Twas the traditional weapon of the Blackrocks, and a simplified version of the legendary hammer he would one day inherit. The two exchanged glances, but didn't dare speak. Something was coming. Something big. The big booming noise came closer and closer, followed by an almighty crash as a tree in front of them splintered. And there it was, an enormous ogre. And so they cheesed it, now very much regretting the fact that they'd just had a race, because they were still pretty tired from that, to be honest. But the need for survival and the adrenaline was somewhat helping to keep their legs moving.
Meow, 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 meow.
The giant beast was gaining on them. It would catch them pretty soon, and despair washed through Durotan, quickly followed by pure fury. They'd never gone on their first real hunt, or danced by the fire with females. There was so much they hadn't done, and yet here they were, about to die. And it wouldn't be a glorious death in battle, it was to be a hilarious death, overpowered by one ogre. Durotan then turned on his heels to scream a curse at the ogre before it smashed him flat like a pancake. But what he saw made his jaw drop. Their rescuers had not uttered a sound, moved in absolute silence, and the ogre now lay on the ground, still. Hubla hubla blah blah hibla. I'm sorry, what? Durotan didn't understand the language. He and Orgrim had seen the Draenei before, but only at a distance, and he'd sure as hell never heard them speak. You are injured. Only my pride. You two have wandered far from home. Which clan do you hail from? I am Durotan, of the Frostwolf clan, and this is Orgrim, of the Blackrock clan. Two different clans. Were you challenging one another? Yes, and no. We are friends. Friends? From two different clans? Yes. It's not traditional, but it is not forbidden. The Draenei nodded, and then turned to two of his companions and murmured another bunch of hibbledy-jibbledy. It was a profoundly musical language. The other two Draenei listened intently, and then nodded. One of them ran off, heading southwest towards Frostwolf lands, whilst the other raced towards the east, to Blackrock lands. They will notify your families that you are well and safe. You will return home tomorrow. In the meantime, I'm happy to offer you the hospitality of the Draenei. I am Restalam, leader of the Guards of Telmor. We regularly trade with your clans, but I regret to say I do not remember either of you. But then the younglings always do seem a bit leery of us when we come to your territory. I am afraid of no one and no thing. He ran from the ogre. Orgrim's face darkened, and his eyes glinted angrily, whilst Durotan lowered his head slightly. Just as he'd feared, the Draenei had seen them cheesing it, borne witness to their shame, and now they were to be mocked. That is wisdom. If you had not fled, we would be sending two corpses home to your families tomorrow. There is no shame in fear, Orgrim and Durotan, only in letting fear prevent you from doing the right thing. One day we will be strong and full size, then it will be the ogres who fear us. I completely agree. Orcs are powerful hunters. Orgrim narrowed his eyes, waiting for the taunt, but there was none. Come. There are dangers in Terakar Forest at night that not even the Guards of Telmor would willingly face. Let's go. And so they did. By this point, both Durotan and Orgrim were goddamned exhausted, but they weren't going to be shamed twice in one day, so they kept up with the Draenei. And although Durotan kept looking for signs of a city, he saw nothing. And for a moment, he wondered if these Draenei were in fact planning on doing something bad. Taking them prisoner maybe, or sacrificing them to some dark god. Here we are. The two orcs exchanged confused glances. They were still in the middle of a forest. There was no town here. Restalan then kneeled down and uncovered a beautiful green crystal that had been carefully hidden amongst the undergrowth. Stegaladoola magalaboola. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. The forest then began to shimmer as if it were a reflection, and then suddenly there was no forest. No trees, only a large paved road leading towards a glorious bustling city. We are in the heart of ogre country. If they can't see us, they can't attack us. But how? A simple illusion, nothing more. The trick of the light. Rassilon could still see the look of confusion lingering on Durotan's face, so he continued. The eyes cannot always be trusted. We think what we see is always real, that the light always reveals what is there the same way at all times. But light and shadow can be manipulated, directed, by those that understand it. In the speaking of those words and the touching of the crystal, I altered the way the light falls on the rocks, the trees, the landscape, and so your eyes perceive something entirely different to what you thought was there. And Durotan still had a dumbass look on his face, so Rassilon just chuckled. Come, my new friends. Come where none of your people have ever been before. Walk down the roads of my home. And we're leaving it there! I wrote this script on the 18th of March, which was the day the Snyder Cut of Justice League came out. And then I recorded it a few days later, after I'd watched the Snyder Cut of Justice League. And I know some people are going to hate me for this, but it was fucking awful! I mean, that's just my opinion, but seriously, I love those characters, and I don't understand why anyone would think that was a good film. At least Steppenwolf didn't get defeated by admitting that his mum's name was Martha or something. As usual, links in the description for the book, my Patreon page, my Discord, all of that stuff. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that stuff. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!